Obviously, I picked up Street Fighter 6 immediately when it dropped last month, of course. I was dead tired of Street Fighter 5 years ago, and finally getting a fresh start with a new Street Fighter was one of the things I was most excited about when it came to Street Fighter 6. I have beaten the story mode, it's done and dusted, and I'd like to speak very positively about one aspect of the game, and that is the World Tour mode they offer you. If you weren't aware already, Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode is the game's main single-player offering, and what an offering it is, I can't lie. The overarching plot of World Tour is that your created character is trying to find true strength in a technologically advancing world with all sorts of shenanigans that you can get into along the way. For example, you have full customization of your avatar's clothing available, you can learn all the styles and super moves of the game's various masters, you can build relationships with those masters, get part-time jobs to earn money, beat up hoodlums, and challenge all the denizens of the world to fistfights in the streets. To describe it simply, imagine if the Conquest mode from Mortal Kombat Deception was crossed with a Yakuza game, and honestly, I think it's pretty fantastic. It really is a fresh new offering in the world of modern fighting game content. For the most part, these past few years, fighting games have been given nothing more than a cinematic story mode typically, which honestly has never been all that impressive considering most of the stories for these modes are awful. Street Fighter V: A Shadow Falls was a complete dumpster with a handful of humorous moments that helped your average player grind through it. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite also had a similar mode, which was terrible, but had a few funny moments at least. NetherRealm Studios games have been a pioneer of these story modes, obviously, but honestly, I think they've been on a downhill slope in quality since Mortal Kombat 9. 9's story mode was a fine and needed reboot of the Mortal Kombat franchise. X was a bit worse, and I think it had too much focus and strength given to the combat kids, and 11 honestly just felt like I was watching a Marvel movie, but with Mortal Kombat characters, and it kinda sucked, I can't lie. Which is really weird to think about, since many years ago, NRS, still Midway at that time, honestly innovated the single-player fighting game experience with its Conquest mode and Deception, which was a rather fun romp through the realms of Mortal Kombat, meeting all the various characters, even ones that weren't in the game, as it were. A fun romp that was only expanded on in Armageddon, since that mode was basically like Shaolin monks for the most part, a fun open beat-em-up game. To give some credit to Bamco as well, I recall Tekken 6 having a pretty fun, full-on 3D beat-em-up mode as a single-player campaign option. I definitely did love throwing people around with King in that mode. I also do have very fond memories of Soul Calibur 2's Weapon Master mode and Soul Calibur 3's Tales of Souls mode. And honestly, to give them even more credit, in their most recent release, they had a full-on story mode too, where you could use your custom character that you made. In Soul Calibur 6, I mean. So I guess not everybody lagged behind in terms of engaging single-player content, but let's get back to the topic at hand. In Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode, you select the fighting style of the master you've studied under. Start with Luke, quickly you'll meet Chun-Li and Marisa, and then you'll go from there. In time, you'll pick up the styles of every fighter from the main roster, and while you will be restricted to using one master's set of normals, you're free to mix and match all the special moves together, provided they don't conflict input-wise, of course. You'll be able to do side quests, brawl with strangers and thugs in the streets, form deeper relationship with your masters via practicing their moves, fighting people using their styles, and you can give them gifts too. Bonding with your master also gives unique events and interactions with them, which are cool because it helps add some more personality to even the World Warriors who have been around since Street Fighter 2. You can also explore two decently sized cities in Metro City and later on Nightshall. You'll also collect Zenny, which is the currency for the game, acquired by either beating people up or doing part-time jobs found around the world, which you can spend on clothing, gifts for your masters, and power-ups to aid you in fights. I have to say, after completing the main story of this mode, that it's entirely fantastic. Well, maybe not entirely. I can't lie, it does have some flaws. There's definitely some optimization issues in this world roaming area. Chinatown and Metro City fucking chugs constantly for me, and fight slowdown seems to happen a teeny bit too. It mainly happens due to the amount of spectators, but it's not too bad. It's manageable, and all the important fights that I went through always seem to run smoothly for me. I'll also say that late game leveling becomes quite the grind. It can be unfun, I can't lie. I don't mind it since I enjoy throwing people around with my custom character here, but regardless, it's a drawback to mention. Anyway, I have to compliment everything else though. World Tour gives you a baseline story to play through that's basically entirely about your character and their quest for strength and its meaning too. Sure, all the Street Fighters are there to help you and give you guidance, but mostly they're just doing their own thing in the world. Most of the fighters are in their home territory for the most part, with some of them being clustered in the bigger cities available. For instance, Honda has a Chanko restaurant in Metro City, Blanca is running a tourist business in Brazil, DJ is DJing at his bar in Jamaica, and Manon is doing a commercial suit in France, just to give you a few examples. The maps for these other locations are a lot smaller than the two big ones, of course. I can't imagine how much effort it'd take to make every location available to you as big as Metro City. That would be kind of crazy, and honestly, I don't even think it's needed for the most part. Every master is willing to train you in their style, and typically you'll get a fun little cutscene to accompany this too. As you learn your master's styles, they'll teach you your special moves, give you quests, and bond with you too. These moments are kind of great, because you get a little bit of fun flavoring for each master and their interactions. Like, you get to teach Ryu how to use a phone simply because, well, he has no idea how to. And Juri's just mean as fuck to you, and I find that really funny. Plus, if everyone's out there doing their own stuff, you don't really have to worry about character redundancy like in a cinematic story mode. My memory might be a bit hazy, but I remember in Street Fighter V's story that Lara ends up joining the main group at one point during Brazil, and I honestly don't even think she has a line of spoken dialogue after she does, which makes her basically irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Fuck, half the cast in Shadow Falls was irrelevant for the most part. As you cruise around the world, you'll also run across familiar characters outside the main roster. You actually run into Retsu from Street Fighter 1, for instance. You also have to deal with Damned from the first Final Fight game, and you get to assist Carlos Miyamoto from Final Fight 2, which is really cool, honestly. Also, all of the Endore family is here too. I love it. Not to mention, you can also run across Shang fucking Long. Shang Long, the legendary character himself, was in this game. The character's also fully customizable, and even better, if an ugly piece of gear has better stats than one you like, you can just set your outfit to be whatever you want and still get the benefits of those stats. You can also paint your gear whatever color you want, provided you have to die for it, of course. Really feels like they thought of everything with this mode, and I have to say, hats off, Capcom. After shitting the bed so hard with Street Fighter V, you've really turned it around with this one. 6 really does feel like they took all the criticism from SF5 to heart and applied it very well to a new game. I hope going forward, Capcom will keep supporting the World Tour mode. I hope the DLC characters add additional quest lines to the game too. I also want them to be there because I'm honestly very curious as to how Akuma is going to text me. I also hope that this motivates other fighting game companies to try to innovate on their single player experiences going forward too. Those cinematic story modes were cool the first few times, but it's time for everyone, be it NRS or BAMCO, anyone, to start trying new stuff with their single player experiences. Anyway, though, on this quick commentary here, my name is HadesManticore, and this channel do be CityStateManticore. Thanks a bunch for watching if you did. Feel free to leave a comment about your experiences with Street Fighter 6's World Tour, or with single player stuff and fighting games in general. A like and a sub would be appreciated as well. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.